Huddle up, team. Thanks for joining us. Everyone's talking about a HELOC.
I know.
What's a HELOC? And is it right for you?
That's the question. Are HELOCs right for you and your current situation? Let's dive into it a little bit, okay? This is interesting. Check this out. Article, HELOCs in high demand amid rising housing prices and interest rates. Guys, so what we want to do is break down really quick the difference in the kinds of debts that you can manage, because debt management is a key element in your personal financial life, all right?
Right.
So we've got two major categories. The first major category of debt is
amortization.
Amortization debt. Now, an amortized debt is basically a loan that has a fixed payment, okay?
Yep.
The monthly payment is fixed and it's connected to a length of time. So this is going to be your home mortgage, either a first mortgage or a second mortgage. It'll also be a car loan, right? You might have like a 72-month car loan and your payment is fixed. And it could also be student loans, okay? And the last kind of amortized debt is a personal loan, right? So the key here, amortization just means that you're on a schedule, right? They provide a schedule for you where you make one payment per month and it's for a specific number of months. And that payment will never change, right? Even if you make extra payments,
it never changes.
The monthly payment amount does not change, right? And that's kind of the deal, right? And that may or may not be the best thing for you, and it just depends on your situation. But the second type of debt structure is what we call revolving debt.
There we go.
All right. Now, here's what's interesting: the revolving debt. The payment amount is not fixed.
Right.
Your payment amount goes up and down every month based on the balance that you owe. So you're going to be most familiar with this with credit card.
Credit card.
Exactly. That's a revolving account. But there's other kinds of revolving debt, like...
we'll do this one first.
Okay. A HELOC. Actually, I don't know that we use it with an E, but that's all right. A HELOC is a personal line of credit. The most popular and what's blowing up right now is the HELOC.
Yep.
Right. And we got two kinds of HELOCs.
Right.
We have a first lien HELOC and a second lien HELOC. But basically, you are using your home as collateral to securitize the loan, right? So if you get a first lien HELOC, you pay off your first mortgage, and the HELOC will replace that. Or if you have a first mortgage, you could add a second lien HELOC, and that would replace, instead of a second mortgage, you would have a second lien position HELOC loan. Okay. Now, which one is right for you? I don't know. That's the thing, right? It depends. So there's all kinds of people that are taking positions like, HELOCs are a scam, to HELOCs are the savior to get you out of debt and save you a bunch of money in interest. So what do you do?
Yeah, we'll talk a little about it. A HELOC is not the same as a home equity loan.
Right. So a home equity loan is going to be the amortized type of debt. So that's like your second mortgage. Right. So it's structured. It's set up on a monthly payment plan, and that's not going to change.
So a refinance and a home equity loan are the same, and it's an amortized thing.
Right.
Okay. Totally different from the HELOC.
A HELOC.
A line of credit.
Right. Now check this out. Okay. It says here the search volume for HELOC has skyrocketed this year. It's up 305% so far. This is an article on Yahoo Finance on July 27. Okay. The searches for HELOC are up 305% this year. And that's because of several reasons. Number one, your home value has appreciated dramatically. Okay. If you bought a home 4 years ago, your house value could have maybe doubled, depending on where you live. So you've got equity now that you never had before. So let's say you bought the house at 200, it could be worth $400,000 right now. And I know for a lot of people that'll totally blow your mind, but that's the market we're in. It's supply and demand, and the market value, the price of your home, if you bought it 4 or 5 years ago, has probably doubled or more. So And here's the issue, right? That equity in your home right now, currently, let's say you bought it at 200,000 and now it's worth 400,000. That $200,000 equity is currently unproductive, right? It's unproductive. You can't use it for anything until or unless you do a refinance and get cash out,
Right.
or you get a home equity line of credit.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you refinance, that would probably be a terrible move in this current environment, because your mortgage is probably at a low rate, because we've been in a very low interest rate environment.
Right.
So you might have a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage at 2.75% or 3 or 4%. You do not want to refinance it.
Not now.
Right?
Keep it right.
Keep that interest rate low.
So do we want to talk a little bit about what you use a home equity line, what it's for?
Yeah. So the HELOC can be for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
I know you can use it for anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You can use it for anything. There's no restriction. The issue is going to be how much equity do you have?
Right.
And what's your debt to income ratio and what's your credit score? And so the banks are going to determine kind of how much money they're willing to lend you. Typically, it'll be 85% to 90% loan to value. And that's on the new updated value of your home. So if it went from 200 to 400, the banks will typically lend you 85 to 90% of the 400,000.
Right.
So if it's 90% of 400, that's 360,000. If your mortgage balance currently, let's just keep the math simple, is at 200,000, then you've got how much? You got $160,000 that you could take out as a debt, home equity line of credit to use for other purposes. Right. And it's really interesting. So most of the research, the articles, they talk about here's, what you can use your home equity line of credit for. So they really encourage you to use it for home improvements. Right. Replace the roof, that you need to put on there. Maybe
garage doors.
Yeah. Big home improvement kind of projects, right? That are capital intensive. Maybe build that addition, add put the shed in the backyard.
Kitchen remodel, right?
Yeah, kitchens are big, bathrooms are big. Do those expensive, costly home improvements that will also improve the value of your home even more, right? What's another popular
Education
use?
is a big one.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, frankly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No, me either. And actually, they put emergencies in here, and I would not use your peace of mind fund for that either.
Yeah.
Or use it as a peace of mind, not one bit, not at all.
Well, so here's the thing, right? If let's say you get $100,000 home equity line of credit, how much interest do you pay?
Oh,
it's kind of a trick question, because if you don't use any of it, you pay zero interest.
Right. Okay.
Right. And that's what's so unique about the home equity line of credit, is that if your balance is zero, I don't care if your interest rate is 12 or 15%, your interest expense is zero because it's applied to the average daily balance. So you only pay interest for what the average daily balance is. So if you're taking money out and you're putting money back in, and you're taking money out and you're putting money back in, the bank's going to calculate what was the average daily balance every day for the previous 30 days. And that is what your interest calculation is. Okay. So that gives you a whole ton of flexibility that you don't get anywhere else. And that's one of the reasons actually why I love lines of credit, is because it keeps the money moving. And when we talk about economics and cash flow management, one of the major things is that you want to keep the money moving. That's really a critical element. So if you think of it like a revolving door, okay, if you're going into a hotel and there's a revolving door, that's kind of like how we want our money to work. We want to be able to put money in and take money out, put money in and take money out whenever we want. And the beauty of a line of credit, if you have a low interest rate, and you can do that on some of these home equity lines of credit right now, they've got introductory offers. You can get a super low rate for a while. That's a great reason to use that to then pay off some other high interest rate debt. Right? But you got to be careful. I mean, it's all about discipline. I mean, we can run the math, and in your situation, we got to run the math and say, does this make sense? Okay. If you're at a 10% interest rate on a home equity line of credit, but you don't use all of that money, then your interest rate, your payments are really much lower, right? Are you tracking with me? So we got to do the calculations and see what's in your best interest. But it could make a lot of sense if you've got 25 or 30% interest rate credit card debt.
Yeah,
you could get
use it for that.
Yeah, a 12%, maybe 15%, maybe home equity line of credit, and cut your interest expenses in half right off the bat. But if you put more money into it, like deposit your paychecks into it and pull it out as you need, then it'll drop it even more because you don't have the whole amount of money on loan to you every day. And that's really the key with this, is to find out what can we do to restructure your cash flow, your inflow and your outflow, so that you got a surplus. Restructure that thing so that we've got the least amount of money every day that you're being charged interest on.
Okay.
And that's what the lines of credit give you the ability to do.
Yes.
What else do people use lines of credit for, babe?
A real estate down payment.
Yeah, like buying another property, right? If you want to use that
Good
for the down payment on an investment property, you could do that. That's good.
They have special events, building credit.
So special events would be like your daughter's wedding.
They even have a bucket list expense trip. I mean,
yeah, like if we always
trip.
dreamed of going to Israel,
right.
and now was a good time, then you could use that home equity line of credit to fund it.
And the HELOC is a great way to build your credit.
It's another type of debt, which helps with the utilization and the variety of kinds of debt. You don't want everything being credit cards or, so that's a good point.
This was an interesting and aging in place. When you do a remodel on your home, if you're using it to structure it for as you age, to make it somewhat handicap accessible or thinking ahead.
Right. Yep. So for our older viewers, right, you maybe have some aging in place issues that you want to take care of, putting in,
or even bringing in mom or dad,
a different shower that's more accessible, or the putting in the handbars or rails in the shower so you don't fall. Yeah, good.
As a business expense.
But here's what's interesting, guys. Now, this article came out May 23. Okay, this was on Market Watch, and they're talking about 47% of mortgaged residential properties are equity rich. So I'm telling you, if you bought your house 3 or more years ago, 4 or more years ago, you're equity rich. Like, the market value has appreciated so much. Legitimately, you could be like, have the market value doubled. So you got to think about this. Okay. We want our money moving. We don't want dead money.
Right.
So dead money is like the Dead Sea. Okay. And dead money is where the money flows in, like you make your payment and then it sits there and you can't pull it back out. You can't do anything with it. It just sits there. And I was in the Dead Sea in 2009. So this is so crazy, right? The water, so the Sea of Galilee is in the north, and like rain water and everything flows into the Sea of Galilee. And then the Sea of Galilee is connected via the Jordan River, and it flows south into the lowest point, which is the Dead Sea. But the problem is the Dead Sea doesn't flow anywhere. It receives the flow, but it goes nowhere. So then it stops. It's dead. And if you walk into the Dead Sea, your feet touch the bottom and you keep going out and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And because the salt content of the Dead Sea is so high, because it can't go anywhere, it provides buoyancy, right? It floats you. So I remember walking, my feet are touching. Now they're not touching and I'm still walking.
Wow.
Like, it was the most wild, crazy feeling. And you could just float there and lean back and read a magazine, or, I mean, it was ridiculous. But we don't want dead money. Okay. We want your money moving because there's life in the movement. And by having your money moving, it gives you options.
Yes.
Okay. And that's one of the things I like about the lines of credit And the home equity line of credit it gives you options. We can move money, but you got to be self-disciplined. So, I mean, I'm assuming you're an adult, right? And if you're an adult, then we don't want to be talking about baby steps. We want to be talking about what is the best utilization and optimization of your cash flow. And depending on your situation and your debt load and credit card balances and all that kind of stuff, there's options here where you could reduce your daily interest charges and keep your money moving. That gives you the most options. And that's what I like about it.
All right, 2 left.
Okay.
Then we're going to wrap it up.
Perfect.
On a business expense as seed money for your business expense. Excuse me.
Could be a really great use of
side hustle.
That unproductive equity in your home right now.
Right.
You could get a line of credit and use that unproductive equity, the unproductive money, and put it to work in a productive way by starting a business.
Right. And the interest rates are going to be lower on that than if you would get a business loan anyway.
Well, it depends.
Right.
But it's another source.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Right.
I know right now, like there's a lot of opportunities to get, if you start a LLC, you start an actual business entity, that there's opportunities where you can get debt, you can get loans, short-term loans that on credit cards that are interest-free for the first 12 to 18 months. But that's just short-term, right? You're going to need something to replace it because the interest rates are going to go crazy. So that's where you can have your line of credit to serve as the backup, right?
Sabbatical.
But you got to be committed to that. I mean, this is a risk.
Sabbatical.
Are
Yeah.
you burnt out? You
taking
maybe
a break.
need some time off of work.
Use it for your living expense.
Yeah, I love it.
Great ideas. Now this is no wonder it's hot.
It's so hot right now. Oh my gosh. And everybody's talking about them. So you need to be aware, right? So the HELOC, the home equity line of credit, is a revolving debt, but it's using your home as collateral. So there's an associated risk there that you got to factor in. But man, there's so much equity in so many houses right now. It does give you the opportunity to do some things. Leverage is an ally. You can use leverage to acquire assets that can pay you more cash flow, or you can use that debt and go blow it and put yourself in a bigger hole than you were in before. Like you got to be responsible, be an adult, and make good decisions on what you're going to do with that money. But you could use it to your advantage. So excellent. All right.
That's it.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in this week. We would love to hear your comments. Please like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. But let us know
what you're thinking.
Yeah. If you got a topic you want us to cover, we're happy to look at it. Drop that in the comments below, and we'll see you next week.